Say her name, Stu. Say it!
Breonna Taylor.
Say
I
her
don't have a
name.
problem
My
saying her
gosh,
name.
the racism just continues.
Now, is that an argument? Because that's what I see substituted for an argument.
Yeah.
A bunch of names of people who had issues with police, whether some of them justified, some of them not. Like the entirety of the argument is like
Say her
Breonna
name.
Taylor, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Eric Garner. And it's like there's a whole range of stories you're talking about.
We need solutions.
Some of them justified, some of them not justified, some of them involving police, some of them not.
No-knock raids in the middle of the night.
No. Like, can we clear some of these things up?
You're just for shooting innocent women in the back or however, in the middle of the night, going in, knock raid, just shooting her.
Can we?
That's what I'm hearing.
This is one of those situations where if you know what happened in the story, it is impossible to adopt the things and viewpoints that Black Lives Matter and every NBA player apparently have.
From a guy who won't say her name. Okay,
Breonna
go ahead.
Taylor.
Go ahead. Tell us the story, Stu.
First of all, there's a rumor that they went to the wrong house.
Yeah.
No, they didn't go to the wrong house. They went to the correct apartment, the one they were supposed to. It's on the warrant. They had a warrant for that address.
But how do we know that?
Well, it's on the warrant, so I mean they went to the right address.
So police doctored warrant. Got it.
No, and we also know there's this big thing about there's a no-knock warrant.
Exactly right.
Now there was a no-knock warrant issued in the case. However, they didn't utilize it. Okay, so that's a big problem. We know for a fact with 100% certainty that they did knock.
Really? We know that because police said they knocked?
Yes. And also, Kenneth Walker, the guy, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, that he also said he heard the banging, and a separate neighbor who came out to say, "What the heck's going on? There's a lot of loud banging going on in this door out there." And then the police said, "Get back in your apartment." So we know with 100%
but
certainty.
But we only know from the guy who fired on police. And the neighbor. Those are the only witnesses that we have.
And the police, and 3 police officers.
Okay. Well, you got to throw out the police officers. They're all corrupt.
Okay. Right. But they all agree on this. So that's a big. Well,
they're probably lying. But the guy who shot was inside. He wasn't lying. And the neighbor I trust, but I don't trust the police.
Now,
got it.
If you've just seen this on sports broadcasts or from dumb politicians.
I like to get all my news from both of those sources.
Oh, no kidding.
And MSNBC, which I think is the combination of the two.
Yes, that is actually pretty much the combination. You might not know that Breonna Taylor, in the past, before this incident, had dated a guy, Jamarcus Glover, who was a known drug dealer. And so the reason they got the warrant was for Jamarcus Glover, who was at a different place, and Breonna Taylor's apartment they wanted to search. They did not accuse Breonna Taylor of a crime. They were just, the accusation or the belief was that they used to date, they had seemingly broken up, but they were still kind of in contact. He had come over to her house a couple times, maybe to pick up a package. They believed that maybe he was getting drugs or money sent to her house and using it sort of as a safe house because she didn't have a criminal history. There was no reason to believe she did anything wrong.
There's nothing that she did wrong, and they didn't accuse her of doing anything wrong. In fact, the belief could have been that she was maybe abused.
Right.
And she's just hiding stuff at her house because the drug dealer boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, is beating her up and is abusive.
She doesn't want to piss off her her ex-boyfriend who's a drug dealer, would be a sensible motivation.
Sure.
But the police's motive.
What are you going to do?
The police motivation there is to go in and see what is in the house.
Right.
Is he hiding drugs? Is he hiding money? What's going on? So that's why they have the warrant. They go to the house in the middle of the night. And we can talk about why this part of this is a problem, but separate from what happened yesterday. Because if you missed the news yesterday, there was an indictment in this case. They announced the results of a grand jury yesterday, and that's what led to the violence last night. 2 police officers were shot, among other things. So they go to the house. Police start knocking on the door. We know they knocked on the door. They identify themselves as police. Now there's the neighbor confirms this, that they identified themselves as police trying to come into the door. Kenneth Walker, the current boyfriend of Breonna Taylor,
the good guy, no charge against, nothing wrong with him, nothing.
Yeah,
clean.
They're in bed. It's 3 a.m. or whatever. They're in bed. They hear the banging. They both wake up.
Right.
They stumble out of their bedroom down the hall. They're looking at the front door. He realizes that she's got a boyfriend who would be pissed off that he was there, and also is a drug dealer and with a known criminal history.
Right. And if indeed she was in an abusive relationship or just afraid of him, he was there. He would have a gun. He's going to shoot because he has a right to defend himself in his own home.
And he's a legal gun owner. Right. And this is an important part of this, legal gun owner. So he obviously, as I would, by the way, went to go get his gun because if he doesn't know it's police, he's freaking out.
Even if he does know it's police, you would still be afraid that maybe that's the drug dealer just saying
yelling
that.
Police, right?
You don't know.
So he believes it's Jamarcus Glover breaking in to abuse Breonna Taylor. So he tries to defend himself.
And her.
So after whatever distance of time, they decide, okay, no one's coming to this door. We're breaking the door down. The police knock the door in. As they knock the door in, he believes a drug dealer is coming in to kill them or abuse them in some way. He does what I think is a completely defensible thing in the circumstances, which is shoot at the person breaking into his house at 3 a.m.
Right.
Right.
I have to tell you, if somebody broke into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and it was police, I'm not sure I would believe it, because if I were innocent, neither of these people had anything, they have no criminal record, they have nothing.
Right.
So that would be me. That would be you. If somebody breaks in at 3 o'clock in the morning and they tear down my door and I'm afraid of somebody else, I know somebody else is coming, for me, I absolutely take a gun and I shoot. Now, you shouldn't shoot without knowing. But that's what happens, and that is why we have a castle doctrine. You have a right to defend yourself in your own home, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. And so it was now it doesn't mean it worked out perfectly, but it was a totally understandable response from Kenneth Walker's position in that moment.
Correct.
Right? He thinks he's being attacked. Someone breaks his door down. He fires one shot. And this is something that is like, I would say 99% of people who talk about Breonna Taylor don't know. But this is agreed upon not only by the police, but also Kenneth Walker, the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor. He fired first and actually hit the officer.
Right.
So think about what just happened now from the officer's perspective. They are trying to break down a door, which they assume, they believe, is potentially has drugs and stuff inside, which, you'd think people were going to hide it or whatever. When they break the door down, they get shot by someone. The one officer, Officer Mattingly, looks down the hall. He sees 2 people at the end of the hall. Can't really make them out. The only thing he can make out is a gun, and he sees a flash of the gun and then feels the heat on his thigh. He gets shot in the thigh. He backs up. What the hell do you think a cop is going to do in that situation? He's just been shot.
Stop. What do you think anyone who is carrying a gun legally is going to do? If someone shoots you and you have a gun, you shoot back.
Right.
That's any human being.
Any human
being.
So, and think about this for a second, how this is shown as supposedly some big example of racism by police. It is not even clear they could make out the race of who was shooting at them. But again, whoever it was, no matter what race it was, actually shot a cop. I think it's defensible from his position why it happened, as we just laid out. But when you shoot a cop, what the hell do you think is going to happen?
Okay, so stop, because that I think is going to be misheard. Here's what we no.
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's what I think we should what needs to be said. Let's look at this from 2 points of view. One, he was justified. He was charged with a crime. The shooter was charged with a crime, and then it was dropped. That's normal.
Yep. People think that's a big sign of racism too. No, that's very
it's not.
Normal.
If I shoot somebody in my house, if you shoot somebody in your house, plan on spending a year in court in hell, okay? Because they're going to investigate all of it, okay? Now, they have witnesses because there were cops that were there. So they could witness and say, yep, that's exactly what happened. This was a justified shooting on his part.
On the boyfriend's part.
On the boyfriend's part. Absolutely justified. These cops are not the cops that are doing the investigation. These are there just serving the warrant and searching the house. They don't know all the details. They don't have an axe to grind. They were just the guys assigned this job. Now, period. Separate issue. Cops come in. They knock. Look at it only from their point of view. The cops, they knock, they identify themselves. They are going into a place that they have been told could be hostile because it could have a drug dealer inside. And whether he's violent or not, I don't know. But they suspect that maybe if he's there, they knock, they identify. They knock, they identify. Then they took the door down. The minute that door is open, somebody in the dark shoots at them. Looking at it from their side, their shooting back is 100% as justified as the person on the other side of the door.
Yep.
This is, at this point, what happened in there was not anything that you can change. There's no reform that will change that because you have two people seeing something from the both innocent, both acting rationally and legally on both sides.
Yep.
You have both of them reacting appropriately.
And if you add, it's just one little flavor here to add, is they thought Breonna Taylor was alone. So they go into a place where they believe it's only Breonna Taylor. Now there's two people in there, and the other person is shooting at them. Now, if you take this in the context of the investigation, they're trying to break up a drug ring here. They've already arrested Jamarcus Glover, the drug dealer. What's their assumption? Probably in that moment that, and I don't know if there's enough time to really noodle this all out, but that he is probably working with Jamarcus Glover there to, now that they know he's already arrested, they're there trying to get rid of the whatever is in the apartment. Now, that's not what happened, but the bottom line is he shot a cop. And cops, when they get shot, are going to shoot back at the person who shot them. This is not brain surgery here. This is very obvious.
And I don't even think you need to say he shot a cop, because shooting a cop is one thing. But when you're in fending for your life and you don't know it's a cop, shooting anyone with a gun who is legally who's illegally holding a gun is going to shoot back.
Yes, he's justified. A separate point from the police perspective. They just went into a house with a warrant and got shot. So now they fire back. There's another cop who gets charged with a lesser crime. We can talk about that later. But the bottom line is she gets hit. He doesn't. And she passes away. This is not a case of racism. It's a good case if you want to talk about the libertarian critique of police over, using...
And not even a no-knock.
Yeah, it wasn't even a no-knock. It's just,
3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning. To me, there's absolutely no reason to execute this warrant in this way, which is another part of the investigation that's not complete. So we have no idea whether we'll find things that led to the warrant wrongly being served.
So everything that we know, the warrant has nothing to do with the cops. And the warrant, if that was fudged at all, that means the district attorney should be in trouble. But the warrant is exactly the same thing we've been saying about Donald Trump's impeachment. The warrant system in this country is bad. It's bad. That is reform all of us can get on the bandwagon with. So I want to take it now here to Joe Biden. I want to take it politically here. Sure. Because what's happening is what we just told you. There is justification on both sides. There is a reason to say we shouldn't do the 3 a.m. raids.
Shouldn't put officers in that situation. We shouldn't put legal gun owners in that situation.
But let me ask you this. If we're going to use logic, that's easy to say in a protest or a hashtag. Okay?
Yep.
However, in this atmosphere, you do a 3 o'clock raid, 3 o'clock in the morning, everyone's going to be freaked out. Okay? Everyone's going to be freaked out because everything is unsafe. There is no law and order right now. You knock an apartment of somebody who has been with a drug dealer and she's afraid for her life, you have a greater chance of the cops getting shot. You come to my house in the middle of the night in this atmosphere, you have a good chance of getting shot. Okay? So that's bad. However, in this atmosphere, cops serve a warrant at 3:00 in the afternoon and everybody's there. Everybody's awake. Everybody's outside. Do you think that the cops are going to be safe in black neighborhoods going in to serve a warrant at 3:00? I don't think so. So what do? They're not safe at night, but they're also not safe in broad daylight.
It's a difficult thing, obviously. I think in the case of Breonna Taylor, right? Here's a woman who's going to work every day. You could have pretty easily just, when she was at work, walked up to her and said, "We're in the middle of searching your apartment, just so you know," when no one was there.
No, I'm not saying anything about her. I'm saying
going
in,
that these tensions are possible. And that's it's not even, it's officers in general, including black officers, are having these same issues.
Oh, it doesn't matter their color.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
And it's like we've seen tons of most of the violence. It seems like the guy who shot the officers last night was white. Like the racial thing is like, it has nothing to do with any of this.
It's ridiculous. These Antifa is using the plight of the African American. And I got news for you, Antifa. The Democratic Party is using you. They're using you. You think they really want this Marxist utopia? They don't. They want graft and corruption. They want money. They want power. George Soros doesn't want a communist state. He wants to control the way things are done for his own enrichment.
This